Approximately 100,000 flights take off and touch down daily across the globe, ferrying about 6 million passengers to various destinations. For a visual representation of this bustling air traffic, you can search for a global air traffic photo. It's surprising to see just how congested the skies appear when depicted on a map. Despite this density, the low occurrence of plane-related accidents is truly astounding. Nonetheless, there's always a possibility of finding yourself on a flight that leaves a lasting impression. If you haven't encountered a harrowing flight yet, consider watching these clips showcasing everything from turbulent flights to unsettling passenger behavior. Here are spine-chilling videos captured on board airplanes. Mid-air madness. Near the entrance of the aircraft, a bizarre incident unfolded just last year on an Asiana Airlines Airbus A321 during a South Korean flight. Two men found themselves stuck near an open emergency exit door after another passenger forced it open. This unusual event occurred on a flight carrying nearly 200 passengers as the plane was nearing Daejeon International Airport. Imagine being comfortably seated, perhaps anticipating your arrival, when suddenly an emergency door swings open. The cabin erupts into chaos with passengers' hair whipping about as air rushes in. You might wonder what could compel someone to open the emergency exit. Fortunately, the man responsible was interviewed, providing insight into his actions. He claimed that stress from job loss led him to feel suffocated and impatient, prompting him to take such drastic action. However, this impulsive act resulted in several passengers being hospitalized, though fortunately there were no serious injuries. Near miss. A student pilot's heart skipped a beat when mid-lesson the door he was grappling with suddenly swung open. He sprang into action, swiftly grabbing hold of the handle and forcefully shutting it, averting a potentially hazardous situation. Instances like these are exceedingly rare in commercial aviation thanks to the robust security measures in place. Airplane doors are engineered to withstand immense pressure differentials, essentially becoming locked in place by the cabin pressure during flight. So how did the door manage to budge in the first place? Perhaps adrenaline-fueled panic lent an unexpected burst of strength. Nevertheless, such mishaps are typically the result of human error, like a control misfire. If an airplane door were to open mid-flight, it would trigger rapid decompression, necessitating immediate action from the pilots to descend to a safer altitude and potentially execute an emergency landing. A tiny door gap. Recall my cautionary tale about the perils of open doors in flight? Well, it seems this individual might have a similar awareness of the potential consequences should a door actually give way. Even a mere gap in the door can set off alarm bells. Personally, I'd err on the side of caution and promptly alert a flight attendant if I notice such a discrepancy. I'd rather risk a false alarm than gamble with a technical malfunction thousands of feet above ground level. But what's the likelihood that a simple gap in an airplane door could escalate into a more serious issue? We've witnessed pilots skillfully land planes with emergency exits wide open, so a small gap shouldn't necessarily spell disaster. UFO at 20,000 feet? At an altitude surpassing 20,000 feet, a passenger aboard a flight departing from Los Angeles captured footage of what appeared to be a UFO cruising near the aircraft. Now, when we encounter tales of UFO sightings, it's all too easy to indulge in fantasies of alien vessels and intergalactic visitors. Yet in truth, UFO simply stands for Unidentified Flying Object, a term encompassing any airborne entity that defies immediate identification. More often than not, these enigmatic objects have earthly explanations. They might be drones, weather balloons, peculiar cloud formations, or even optical illusions conjured by atmospheric conditions. The vast majority of UFO sightings eventually yield to mundane explanations. However, the individual who recorded this particular clip remains steadfast in their conviction that what they witnessed was of extraterrestrial origin. Police on board? When a plane is diverted, it's a clear sign that something is amiss. If upon landing the police board the plane within minutes, it indicates a serious incident has occurred. This was the case for passengers on a Hawaiian Airlines flight in 2021. The flight, which was en route from Honolulu to Hilo, had to make an unexpected return to Honolulu after a passenger reportedly assaulted a flight attendant. The crew had no choice but to take decisive action against the disruptive passenger. The 32-year-old man responsible was arrested and faced serious charges for his behavior. Such incidents are rare, but when they do occur, they are highly disruptive. Reports suggested that the incident likely stemmed from a misunderstanding. What started as a simple argument escalated into a significant ordeal, wasting hours of everyone's time on board. Bubblegum menace. It can be petty at times, but this level of pettiness is beyond me. Let's face it, a 6 to 8 hour flight can be grueling and incredibly boring, even for frequent flyers. On-flight screens are essential for passing the time, but what do you do when the person in front of you keeps blocking your screen with her hair? One girl reached her limit. After repeatedly pushing the woman's hair away only for it to be put back each time, she decided to take drastic measures. While I might have politely asked the woman to stop blocking my screen, this girl had other plans. Whether she had already tried speaking to the woman and was ignored or had simply reached her breaking point, she took extreme action. She stuck chewing gum in the woman's hair, cut parts of it with nail clippers, inserted a lollipop, and dunked the ends into a coffee cup. This drastic response to what many consider a minor social faux pas sparked a divided reaction on social media. Some believe the girl's actions were justified, while others think she went too far. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. That's a foot right there. This passenger was understandably upset when her armrest was turned into a footrest by the passenger behind her. What would you do in this situation? Personally, I don't care how clean your feet are, you're not putting them anywhere near me. Hopefully the woman got assistance from the cabin crew and some isopropyl alcohol to clean her armrest. 20,000 feet in the air. Here's another nightmarish clip captured inside a plane. If you haven't experienced heavy turbulence on a flight, this might make you think twice, especially if there's challenging weather ahead. While I've explained the science behind turbulence before, there's more to discuss about these bumpy episodes. First, turbulence is more common than you might think. The National Center for Atmospheric Research reports around 65,000 pilot-reported encounters with moderate or more significant turbulence annually in the United States alone. But don't let this number alarm you. Turbulence is caused by various factors like atmospheric pressure changes, jet streams, or air around mountains, weather fronts, or thunderstorms. Here's the interesting part. Turbulence isn't as scary as it feels. Yes, it can jolt an airplane, but commercial planes are built to withstand much more than these bumps. So while your next flight might not be entirely bump-free, rest assured it's still a safe way to travel. The aviation industry continuously works on improving turbulence detection and mitigation to make your journey as smooth as possible. However, if you find yourself screaming during turbulence like in this clip, no one could blame you. Feet on the screen. This next clip took the internet by storm. It's pretty self-explanatory and unsettling. Imagine watching your screen while eating, unaware that a stranger used his toes to navigate the system. This is why sanitizer and isopropyl alcohol are essential. You can never fully trust strangers in shared spaces. What would you do if you saw this on your flight? Would you get the cabin crew's attention or would you sit in silent disdain? Let me know in the comments. This incident highlights the importance of hygiene and etiquette in shared spaces like airplanes. It reminds us to be mindful of our actions, especially in confined environments. Cleanliness in public places is crucial, particularly during health concerns. Engine on fire. Calling all aviators and pilots, what are your thoughts on the recent spate of Boeing-related accidents? One particularly dramatic incident occurred on February 20th, 2021 involving United Airlines Flight 328, a Boeing 777-222. Shortly after takeoff from Denver International Airport, the aircraft's right engine failed spectacularly. Parts of the engine cowling disintegrated and fell over Broomfield, Colorado, creating a debris field and causing an in-flight engine fire. Remarkably, the pilots managed to secure the failed engine and safely return the plane to Denver, landing without further issues just 24 minutes after takeoff. No injuries were reported among the 231 passengers and 10 crew members on board or on the ground. Despite its impressive long-range capabilities and relatively low accident fatality rate, this incident cast a shadow over the Boeing 777. It led to increased scrutiny and inspections of aircraft with similar engine types to prevent future occurrences. The perception of the Boeing 777 shifted, highlighting concerns despite its strong safety record. Inside the clouds. As a kid, I imagined clouds were like cotton candy. My first plane ride shattered that illusion when I saw the airplane wing slice through a cloud. However, clouds can sometimes present different textures. Check out this fascinating clip of a plane flying through a cloud in cold temperatures or icing conditions. This involves supercooled large droplets or SLD, which are much larger than typical icing particles and pose significant hazards to aircraft. When a plane flies through a cloud containing these large droplets, ice can form not just on the leading edges where de-icing equipment is typically located, but also further back on the wings and other surfaces. This can disrupt airflow and affect the plane's performance. SLDs often form under specific atmospheric conditions like temperature inversions or through collision coalescence, where droplets within a cloud collide and combine. Pilots know better than to get distracted by these crystals. Exiting such conditions as soon as they are encountered is often the best course of action. Unexpected flyer. Here's a rather unexpected and unsettling occurrence during a flight, especially for those with a phobia of bats. On a flight from Delhi, India to Newark, USA, a bat was seen flying around the cabin just 30 minutes into the 15-hour journey. This caused quite a stir among passengers, leading the flight captain to turn around and make an emergency landing. While bats aren't typically harmful, they can bite, causing understandable concern. The plane safely returned to Indira Gandhi International Airport after dumping a significant amount of fuel. Wildlife experts boarded the aircraft and found the bat dead in the business class section. This bizarre occurrence, believed to be the first of its kind on an Air India flight, was speculated to have happened because the bat might have snuck onto the plane from a catering vehicle. Inside the cockpit. There's a reason why some people clap after a plane lands. Although planes are far safer than they were years ago, it's still a huge relief to get off a flight safely, no matter how uneventful and smooth it is. While the plane itself gets some credit, the pilot is also highly praised. Pilots are trained to handle all kinds of situations, including the unnerving experience of flying through turbulence. Take a look at how pilots manage to breeze through turbulence, keeping calm and not showing any signs of worry. Pilots undergo extensive training to handle turbulence, which is a common phenomenon in aviation caused by various atmospheric conditions such as jet streams, mountain waves, or storms. Pilots may adjust the altitude to find smoother conditions, manage the speed to ensure aircraft stability, and communicate with air traffic control for information and assistance. They continuously monitor weather reports and forecasts to avoid areas of potential turbulence when possible. Despite the challenges turbulence presents, pilots are well equipped to handle it safely. Open air horror. Imagine the horror of passengers on an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9 when at a cruising altitude of 16,000 feet, a panel decided it had had enough of flying and blew off the aircraft. This prompted an emergency landing. The incident led to the grounding of 171 Boeing MAX jets for safety inspections, primarily affecting Alaska Airlines and United Airlines. Thankfully, the pilots kept their cool, ensuring a safe landing despite the unexpected mid-air horror. This incident not only left passengers with an unforgettable experience, but also led to a class action lawsuit against Boeing. Passengers voiced concerns over the physical and emotional impact of the incident, highlighting the importance of stringent safety checks and the professionalism of pilots in managing unexpected crises. Seat kickers. The not-so-gentle pitter-patter of tiny feet on the back of your airplane seat. While I'm a forgiving person, having someone kick my seat is a different story. I'd ask them to stop immediately. Some passengers find the presence of young children on planes quite challenging, especially when it comes to seat kicking. In fact, a report from Kayak found that 26% of travelers believe it's not okay to bring a baby on board under any circumstances. For me, crying and toddlers babbling are fine, but kicking is a no-go. Some airlines have introduced child-free sections to address this issue. Anyone lose their cat? As a pet owner, losing your pet on a flight is a terrifying thought. On one flight, a feline suddenly showed itself and climbed on top of a seat, likely searching for its owner. Passengers immediately began filming this tabby cat's great escape, which turned into in-flight entertainment. Luckily, the tabby was reunited with its owner. Another incident occurred on a United Airlines flight from Dallas to San Francisco. A cat escaped its carrier and decided to explore the cabin, creating a stir among passengers. The cat entered the first-class cabin, causing more commotion before its owner finally retrieved it. Stowaways. Forget funny airplane food pictures, some folks take their airplane adventures to a whole new level of risky. We're talking about stowaways, people who attempt to catch a flight in ways that would make your boarding pass sweat. While the image you might have seen of women relaxing on a plane engine, let's be clear, that's a staged photo folks, may seem outrageous, real-life stowaways hide in much more dangerous places. They crawl into the freezing wheel wells with temperatures plummeting to -60 degrees and little oxygen, or squeeze into cargo holds lacking proper ventilation. These attempts are not just crazy ideas for a viral video, they're incredibly dangerous and can be deadly. In 2015, a teenager named Justin, formerly Temba Kabeka, became a rare success story, surviving a flight from South Africa to London hidden in a wheel well. Sadly, such stories are far from the norm. Which of these scenarios did you find the most unsettling? Personally, I wouldn't want to be on a flight with a kid repeatedly kicking my seat. Motion sickness is no joke. What about you? Any nightmarish flight experiences to share? Feel free to leave them in the comments. Also, check out our other cool content on the screen and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody.